Yo YouTube, what's up? Real life riff edit again, going into slop content. Which means I am not scripting this. We are going to test a few different Vivian teams, starting from M0 Vivian, S0 Vivian, and afterwards we are going all the way up to M2, which means $500 Vivian. And gonna be real, I do not have infinite money, so that is what we are staying at. We will be testing Jane, we will be testing Miyabi, however, disclaimer, my Miyabi is M2. We will be testing Yanagi, disclaimer for that as well. Yanagi is on a 4-piece Thunder Metal and currently, well, Piper is holding her Freedom Blues. And we will also be testing Piper, which is what we are gonna start with. However, my Piper is not built as well, which also means if you are looking for a real Piper score, you can perform better than whatever I'm gonna do here today. However, that is gonna be true for basically everything. Rule of thumb is gonna be, we are gonna be doing one single run for every single team. If I don't die, that run is valid and it will appear in this video. Doesn't matter what the score is, doesn't matter how often I fucked up, that is what we're going for. We will always be running the core of Vivian Astra. If you are looking for a non-Astra team, don't pull Vivian. And lastly, Metamorphosis is extremely good for Vivian. It gives her not only the ether build-up rate and the AP, which obviously is good, it gives not only the defense shred, but more importantly, it gives a 40% attribute anomaly increase. These 40% are a separate multiplier from damage percent, probably. Honestly, I don't know how it's implemented, but usually attribute anomaly damage is different from damage percent. Anyway, I want to see how much this hyperinflates Vivian, which means we will also be testing Jane twice. We will be testing Jane once with Metamorphosis, and afterwards one time with Final Assault, because this is the most generic one. It gives the defense shred, which this one gives, and it also gives the decibel generation rate. Honestly, never mind, we are gonna test one out. Editor, leave this in. So, that's what we're gonna do. We are gonna start with Piper, Vivian, and Astra. We will be doing all tests against the Dead End Butcher, except for Yanagi. Yanagi we are gonna test not against the Butcher, but instead against the UCC. Also, please keep in mind, this buff here gives crit damage. It is not gonna give anomaly proficiency whatsoever, which also means it's kinda not that great. And with that said, let's go and fail. So Piper has the strong possibility, well, that's not a possibility if you do it, but Piper can actually proc a bloom twice. One time with her initial cast and one time with her slam. We are gonna build up some anomaly here. And afterwards we're gonna go and now try to block some blooms. So as soon as we enter it, we will get one bloom and then we can immediately slash down and get a few other blooms. The problem which we kinda have here is that, especially with Astra, we actually spend a lot of blooms. And sometimes it can be difficult for Vivian to keep up with that. Which also means we kinda need to use a lot of quick assists to actually make up for that. No, we are gonna use the chain now. Go into Piper. We are gonna basic attack a bit to proc a little bit of a bloom. And then we parry here. Then we proc the stun window using the X special, go back into Piper. We cancel this. We are gonna spin a little bit. Then we sweep down, go back into the chain and re-trigger this. And we can trigger the assault and go into her ultimate. To waste as less build up as possible. And then we can block a few more assaults, and now you can see we have the little bit of a problem in terms of her stack management. I probably shouldn't have ulted here, it would have been better to go into the assist follow-up first. But I can't really change that one, so... Wanna bloom, proc this, go back into Vivian. You can proc it again, a few blooms. Go back into the chain. And we can probably ult. Honestly, I'm not sure if we have enough anomaly. Oh shit. No, that is a lot of wasted anomaly build up here. We do want the parry for sure. Twice at least. We are gonna spin here. Try to proc the anomaly. Go into her. We have a little bit of a problem here, so we will go into Vivian. Honestly, this has been a pretty big misplay, but regardless, that is not what this is about. Again, everything counts, so we are gonna proc the blooms. We have way too many stacks currently. Try to get everything in before the run ends. We will do full channels here to get rid of all of the stacks if possible. This should be 2 bloom procs, perfect. Okay, there we go. So this has been with a relatively unbuilt Piper. We are only at talent level 3. We are at a score of 40,000, which means if you don't waste the anomaly build-up as I did, if your Piper is actually built, and if you have an idea of how to play Piper compared to what I do, this is much better. There's the score. I probably should actually remove myself to a different place. But anyway. So, rating on the team, 5 out of 5. I just think every Vivian team is pretty amazing. Alright, we are gonna reset the stage. We are gonna stay with Metamorphosis. Next up, Jane. Okay, for Jane, we are running Sharpened Stinger. We are gonna be running her signature. Also, please keep in mind the 40k score here has been with Weeping Gemini, just to make that very clear. This is S0, not S1. Good. Next up is Jane. Okay, we do want to preserve our EX specials here. Just so that we can actually proc the blooms. We got hit there. That was obviously not intended. Let's get a few more stacks. That has been not a dodge as I wanted it to be. That is good. We can actually ult here. That's okay. We are wasting a little bit of build up, but there are worse things. I wanted to iframe this. Well, that did not work out. Anyway. If you press your EX too slowly, that is gonna suck. Oh well. Okay, let's not waste any time. Let's directly use our ultimate. We go into Jane Chain. We are gonna wait with swapping here for a little bit. And now we can start off with Jane Chain into Vivian to get some stacks back and go back into Jane. We cancel the chain. We are gonna start off a little bit here. And then we can go into ultimate. Actually, yeah, it has been a little bit too slow, but anyway. We can iframe most of this, which is good. We are low on stacks again, which is a little bit unfortunate. Oh shit. That has not been my intention. We are gonna wait for one more bloom proc before we use our ultimate. I get hit way too often here. Okay, now we go. Now we go. I channeled that not long enough. That's a little bit unfortunate. Okay. This should... Okay, there we go. I wanted to proc that assault so that we do not waste anything possibly. Because now we are with the energy here at 5 stacks, which is really good. And then we can proc with Astra the stun window. We can go back here. And go back into Jane. Go for another build up here. Go for one basic. Just to get one stack back. And now we will need to parry here to get her ultimate. Perfect. So that has been a lot of build up wasted here. There we go. Alright, so for Jane with a lot of misplays, to be fair, there have been a lot of misplays. We are at 46k. We know from yesterday's testing that we hit 53k. And I know that if you have actually an idea what you are doing and you are really good at playing this team, you can clear this. You can hit 60k. However, the rules say only first tries. So that is what we're gonna do. Next up, we are going with Yanagi. Yanagi we will be testing against the UCC. We are gonna go with Metamorphosis as well. If you're wondering where is Bernice, well, my Bernice is a crit Bernice and she's also M6. So unrelatable and not representative of what Vivian can do, but Vivian can carry everything. So we are good in this regard. We are also gonna be running Snap for everything, just so we have that one in mind. Okay, so for Yanagi, Vivian in my opinion feels super good. So we want to build up a little bit of shock here. And while we are building up shock, we can now perfectly proc this, go into her, get some stacks back, do this definitely totally intended parry. And we will need to quick swap a lot here with Astra. The only reason why we need that is because otherwise we have a little bit of a problem in regards to stack build up. We already have that anyway in the very first beginning. As you can see, we are basically out of stacks. We will also be doing a run with the tech afterwards, simply because I want to see the difference. So we can talk about whether it is better to run Anomaly Mastery or tech percent on Yanagi for this team. One is definitely more damage, the other one is more build up. Personally, I think the build up is nicer to play. However, you definitely run into stack problems. So we want to open here because she will be out of stack now. As you can see, we are having lost one stack over here. And that is, you know, not a lot. That has been not the kind of quick swap which I wanted to do. So we are gonna proc one time this, so we can proc the Bloom, get a few more stacks back. And then go back into Astra here, use the iframe, dodge whatever kind of bullshit he is doing. Now we wait for the stacks to exist, we'll use one time our EX special, and then go into our ultimate. Now we truck the Bloom. This has been a 250k Bloom, which is pretty impressive for a Shocker Bloom. That is way higher than I thought it will be, holy. Okay, anyway. Usually I expect like a 150k Bloom, but that is Thunder Metal. Thunder Metal does a lot for this actually, but well. So use one time the chain here, we can go into we need to go into Vivian, we need more stacks. We are essentially out of stacks, which is not good. One time more Yanagi ult. We get the impair here, the last Bloom. That has been a miss swap. that has been a misswap. Stacks are a little bit of a problem in this team, or at least the way of how I currently play it, to be fair. Okay, there we go. So this has been a Thunder Metal Yanagi with a lot of wasted blooms actually. A lot of wasted blooms. We are at 52,700. So not too bad, honestly. Not too bad. For the fact that we disordered a lot, I think this is pretty good. Next, we are gonna reset this and we will be testing this now again. However, what we are gonna be doing is we are not gonna be testing AM, but instead we will be testing attack percent. Alright, so we are gonna play with a 2-piece Phaethons and a 4-piece Thunder Metal. The reason why we are running Phaethons instead of anything else is I always had this piece for obvious reasons, you know. Always had this, definitely didn't just roll this in the second, and also I literally do not have attack. I honestly don't even have any Freedom Blues or Chaos Chess pieces. So yeah, we are gonna be doing that. So the question is, what will be better? Anomaly Mastery or attack percent? One problem we have had in the last run has been, very simply, we had a little bit too many procs to make sure we actually utilize that effectively. So let's play now with attack percent and see if that changes. The problem is we now have a lot of stacks which we have to build up first. We can go for 1 EX special here, we can go for 1 more here, go into her EX special, proc a little bit of stuff here. We do get another bloom, another shock, we have 2 stacks. And we can use our ult here. Very good. Very good, very good. We do have to utilize again the quick assists quite a lot because, well, you know, there are no fucking parry here's. So that's what we're having to go with. Without parries, you will notice that a lot. So, one thing we definitely can notice already is that the stack management is much easier. We want to build up a little bit of anomaly here before switching into her. We are going into Yanagi, so we can now use our EX special and retrigger this one using Vivian. And now we do have the problem of not having enough stacks on her, which is a little bit unfortunate. I actually think I should have casted Yanagi's ult here much earlier, because regardless, even if we don't get the actual blooms, the stun modifier here would have done a lot. The stun modifier would have done a lot here. Okay, we do want Astra's ult here because, again, we are in dire need of stacks. The stacks we have are kinda sad, honestly. Even with the attack percent in the last slot. So that's a little bit unfortunate. Wow, we got a rare parry, which is good. Very good. The thing I like the most about this team is how nicely it plays. Like, you kinda don't, you don't even realize that UCC exists. Or at least that is what it often feels like. I really like that. Okay, this is not too bad. We can get easy the 5 feather stacks here. Go back into Yanagi, use her ult. Honestly, might have wanted to do this differently anyway. Not that we can change it now. Use the blooms which we have. And we are at a grand total of 52,000. Actually, we are slightly lower than with the AM run, which to be fair is honestly also because I did not cast a single Yanagi ultimate during enemy stun window, so we got like 50% less damage on 2 polarity disorders. However, you get the point. This is basically what I meant when I said in my guide. It doesn't matter whether you run AM or attack percent, you know, unless you are absolutely min-maxing, who the fuck cares? The A and tower made me realize how buns this boss is. No parries, long-lasting attacks, huge AoE and hard to stagger. I honestly think this is a pretty good boss. Honestly, I really like I like this team because the iframes you have. I did not play a single mechanic of that guy. I just were dashing around. Vivian is basically invincible 24/7. And Yanagi just dashes around so much. So yeah, that's a thing. All right. Last but not least, we have Miyabi. However, Miyabi is M2. And I do want to make that very clearly for everybody. This is an M2 Miyabi. However, my skill issues with Miyabi, yes, you heard that right, skill issues and Miyabi that apparently exists, also means it doesn't matter. Anyway, we are running her signature, 4-piece branch and blade, 2-piece woodpecker electro. We are running attack percent, and anomaly mastery in slot 6. Why am I running anomaly mastery, you might ask? Great question. The answer is, it doesn't matter. However, the real answer is, I personally feel it feels nicer. It feels better to me. That doesn't mean it is better. It just means I prefer it. So we are gonna be playing Miyabi with Vivian and Astra. We are going for this one just to make sure everybody has their equipment. Yes, yes, and yes. Fantastic. Oh, well, you know, also I want to mention that for Astra we are running Kaboom. If you have watched my Astra guide back then, you might ask, why Kaboom? Why are we not running Bashful Demon? That is more damage, in fact. Not in this team. The reason why we are running Kaboom is because we want as many quick assists and as many tremolos as we can to proc the blooms. Yeah, let's do it. Got similar results with aim versus attack. I think it's great because that basically means you can just take whatever you have, you know? Alright, the Dead End Butcher is back. We are gonna be starting right off here. We are gonna proc 1 Frostburn, which doesn't matter because we technically want Chatter and not Frostburn. I just wasted everything here, as you can see. So that is how not to do it. That is how you do not want to do this. We do want the parry here, very important, so we can get the stacks. Please note, if you do the double parry here, as I did, you do not get the stacks, as you saw. You're just gonna be wasting a lot of shit. Okay, we are gonna go into Miyabi here. Cancel this, go back into Vivian. Go back into Miyabi. Go for our ultimate. We are wasting a stack here. Or 2. I'm actually not too sure, but that's okay right now. Use the quick assist to get 1 more stack on Vivian. And then go back into Miyabi. We are M2, so we can now do a basic attack here. And go back into Miyabi. So that is good. We had another EBA 3 here. Now we have a little bit of a problem with stacks, but we get our ultimate right back up, which is great. So we do want to proc Shatter, but we can also parry instead. And then just ignore the second parry, apparently. We have a lot of blooms coming in, which is great, outside of the fact that we don't have enough stacks for that. There we go. Back to Miyabi. We are gonna be proccing with Vivian first. Go into Miyabi. We go back into Vivian. We really need the stacks here. We cancel so we can get the quick assist here. And now we can refill some stacks. And then we can go into Astro for ultimate. Very nicely. Very, very nice. We are gonna be doing a little bit of stuff here so we can use the time on Vivian for her ultimate here. Just spam out everything we have right now. We do not have to take care about perfect stack management. We do not have to take care about perfect stack management because we are killing right here. Alright, so this has been the last character we want to test at M0S0. However, does this mean with a total score of 62k that Miyabi is the best partner for Vivian? No, it means probably that Vivian is the best, well, not the best, but a really good partner for Miyabi. However, anything with Miyabi is really good. You can solo play Miyabi and you can play Yanagi and probably still kill. There is two important things. First of all, again, this is M2 Miyabi that gives an inherent advantage over everything else, and please don't compare Jane to Yanagi to Miyabi. Secondly, we do want to kind of take care about one other point. This boss is weak to both Ether and Ice. If you are playing Yanagi, you do not have the Ether weakness. So yeah, that's a thing. However, I do want to focus a little bit more on Jane. Why do I want to focus on Jane? Because my Jane is more relatable than all the other units I have. My Yanagi, well, to be fair, my Yanagi is pretty good as well, but still. Which means we will be doing another Jane run with Vivian and Astra. What we will be doing here is, well, actually, we are gonna change this. We are gonna change from this one to worn out. Is that good? Should you choose this one? Definitely not. However, I want to find out how much does the buff actually favor Vivian. And I think it is a lot. So that's a thing. I wish I would have an idea. Okay, so we are parrying here, just back to our usual stuff. We're wasting one EX special here, which is okay right now. Just so we can get this, because we do want to build up a little bit of stacks. I did mean to actually dodge that, but anyway. We will be proccing a few blooms here. We are back at 3 stacks now. We wanna proc Assault here and then directly go into the ultimate so we can circumvent the ICD. And then we can go back to Vivian. That has been a huge bloom there. Well, actually not. We go into the dodge counter. Go into one basic attack here. Go for Astra. We want to go back into Vivian for some more stacks, but that is okay. Cancel the chain, proc this. I want to get one EX special in here before I switch to Vivian. That was not too bad, I think. We get the bloom here. We do not have to parry yet. We do have still a few stacks, which is very good. Proc this, and then we are gonna go here to proc the quick assist. First of all, keeping up the stacks. Then we can parry, which is nice. Go back here, go into Vivian for another parry. Honestly, we should just use the ultimate. I don't know why I held so long onto this. Not a good idea. Not a good idea to hold onto this for so long. Use the quick assist to get all the stacks back we can. This is actually a little bit unlucky now. Oh no, never mind. This is perfect. What am I saying? This is perfect. We are just gonna dump everything right now. I'm not sure if we should have spinned first. Honestly, maybe we should have. We can get a few more stacks back here, which is good. We need to parry once, yeah. Oh fuck, I forgot to... I forgot this. Just use our ultimate directly here before the timer runs out. Can we get one more proc? One more assault? Yes, we can. We can also get a few more blooms. Okay, there we go. So, this now is a run without the buff. No anomaly buff here, 40k, which is a difference of 4,000 compared to our previous run. Is that indicative that the difference is about 10%? Probably not, and we will make a counter test to that. We will be making a counter test to this, because I know for a fact that we have gotten 53k before. And yeah, I know we said only one test, however, I want to show that the difference can be definitely more. Sure, the previous play has not been perfect as well, but that's not the point. That's not the point. You can see that the blooms have only been hitting for, I think it was like 300k most of the time, which is pretty low. So that's a thing as well. Okay, go for the parries here. That is very good. This is not good. We do need to proc the assault before we start using our EX specials. Fortunately, Vivian is just invincible 24/7. I don't know what they thought, if that would be a good idea, but apparently they thought that. Okay, we are just gonna parry once and then instantly go into ultimate here to interrupt the sequence. We will be proccing this assault and then we switch into Vivian for her ultimate. There's many people really... I think it is really easy to underestimate how good these buffs actually are. So I understand that, but that does not make it easier. We are gonna go for a double Vivian chain here. The reason why we do that is for better stack management. This actually is a bad ultimate because we, you know, waste a lot of anomaly buildup, but you know, I have to make, you know, mistakes in every fight, right? Otherwise this would not be fair, surely. At least that's my excuse. Also, one thing about this fight, which is very important, he does a lot of how it's called? A lot of chain attacks, like chain parries, which is a problem because that means you don't get your assist follow up on Vivian, which means you do not get the stacks from the parries, which is fairly annoying. Which is fairly annoying, to be honest. We are gonna proc another one here. Go into her chain. And then we can proc all of this. Very good. We do want another Vivian chain because stacks. Cancel this. And go back into chain. Now we have 5 stacks to play with, which is really nice. We can proc nice blooms here for 500,000 each. Very good. 300k blooms currently. We are not gonna parry here we are running out of time and we want to make sure we get as much damage in as we can possibly can. And the parry right now would probably cost more time than necessary. So one last ultimate here from our dear Vivian. Alright, there we go. This has been a second counter test just to show that you can get indeed a little bit higher. We are at 48k, which is still lower than what we've gotten yesterday, but that's okay. That's not the point. Okay, so this is what we will be going off. This was M0S0. Now comes the real fun. So that also shows you, on out, if you do not have the Metamorphosis buff at least, is about 20% of a difference. This is pretty big. Anyway, we will be doing now the exact same team. However, we now have spent $100. We have spent $100. We are rich. We now have the Flight of Fancy, sitting in the VIP lounge of the airplane. Will this massively improve our score? Do you need her signature? No, of course you don't. But we will do the run regardless. This is now not with Weeping anymore, but instead with Flight of Fancy. So, what will the actual difference be? Let's have a look. We can get hit here, it doesn't really matter. Actually, I would argue it's probably pretty good. We want to build up our stuff here, get a few stacks. Proc 1 assault if we can before we go into our EX special. Go for an assist here just so we can get a bit more stuff. Proc the assault. Another EX. And now if possible I really would like another parry. No? Okay, I guess we don't. But we get Vivian's ult, so that's a positive. We need to hold off on Jane ult up until now at least, just so we can get an Bloom proc from this, because this one will not be too slow. It's 380k. We can just hit here, we don't have to parry in this moment. We quickly switch there to Vivian just to make sure that we get the chain initially from Jane, and then we can go back into another Jane chain here. This allows us to proc 1 assault at least here, trigger the bloom and go back into the chain for the next stack. And now we want to parry this, make sure we get her assist follow up in, which we did not, which is a little bit unfortunate honestly. Kinda a bit annoying about this, but that's okay. Jane ult, which did waste a lot of build up again. I am very good at this. You can see that I take a lot of care about my anomaly buildups. But I suppose most people will not do that either, so hashtag relatability or something, I'm not sure. So let's get this going. We proc 1 more assault, which is good. Let's get her into the flight stance. This has been a little bit too late anyway. We want to trigger here using her ultimate. We go first into Vivian to make sure we get some stacks before we go into Jane. This should proc, I hope. That has been a 500 mil assault again. Very good, very good, very good. And that way we can get 2 nice damage blooms in there. Very nice. I probably shouldn't have parried here. Probably should have just stayed on Jane here to get a little bit more damage out. There we go. Alright, a lot of misplays as per usual, but again, only first. We are at 48,600. M0S1. Do you need her signature? Depends. If you play perfectly, you will get a higher score using her signature. If you don't play perfectly, you don't make perfect use of everything, Weeping Gemini will perform just as fine. The difference is so minimal. And this is always why it is important to make sure that you have an understanding that theory crafting does not always 100% translate for you specifically, or for me, or anybody in that matter into practice. If a weapon is 10 or 12% worse than the signature, yeah, if you play perfectly. If you don't play perfectly, probably not. And that is something which you always have to keep in mind. It is a good guideline, but keep in mind that these are potentially $100. This is now $100 Vivian. Is it worth $100 to get, 53k instead of 48 maybe? Probably not. However, what if you have a lot of money? You are rich. You don't only have M0, you in fact will have an M1 Vivian. When a total of 4 guard feathers are consumed, gain 1 flight feather. This actually is huge. You cannot underestimate how big this is. And this is also the reason why her M6 is so good. Anyway, all attribute anomaly damage and disorder damage received by targets under Vivian's prophecy increase by 16%. Vivian's prophecy is her dot, and we will be unlocking it. How much can we expect? Is this gonna change everything? Devs listened, except that they didn't listen. We will find out. We are doing the exact same thing. We are using Snap, exact same team. So let's see. M1S1. W payer friendly stream, indeed. So, this is really big for Jane. We do want to carry here. Try to first get some anomaly built up before we use our EX special. Very good, very good, very good. Proc this anomaly before we use our EX. Never mind. Do not proc the anomaly, I guess. Do not proc the anomaly. I guess that's gonna be the case. We are gonna go back into Vivian, use her ultimate. We can already see a pretty massive increase in terms of the bloom damage which we have gotten here compared to the non-M1. We are gonna be dodging a bit here. Make sure to use one time her basic here, just so that we get 1 additional flight feather stack. Make sure we can get all the stacks back, because we will be proccing 1 bloom here. And that is kinda good. Get stacks back and go back into Jane. Proc the assault and into ultimate. And we can proc a second assault, very nice. 800,000 assault. Can we get more? This is an auction now. We are selling assaults. Can we get an assault higher than 800,000? Find out. What is the next highest bid? Proc the assault here, thank you. We do want to wait. We do not want to switch yet. We want to proc 1 first. This has been a 500k a bloom. Holy. M1S1. Holy relatability. We are at full stacks. You can already see the difference, I think, in terms of how less we run out of stacks. The amount of stacks we currently have is honestly astonishing. We are not running out of stacks anymore. Well, actually we do, I guess. Just kidding, we don't. Okay, we are gonna cancel this. Proc the assault here. And now we go into Vivian, so we can get the flight feathers back. We have no way of spending so many stacks. There is no way we can spend these many stacks. So I guess I'm not gonna hold on to her ultimate. I am not gonna hold on to her ultimate here. That does not seem worth it. I don't think we can, yeah, proc the assault here. No way. And with an M1S1 we are at 51k. Does that mean there is no damage increase? No. However, you also need to be able to utilize it. You have a damage increase for sure. However, I think the biggest thing, which in my opinion is the biggest part of Vivian's M1, is every 4 guard feathers spent, you get 1 back. You have an insane amount of guard feathers which you can spend, and that shows. What also means, you know what we are gonna test next? M1S1. However, we are not gonna test Jane. We are going back to Piper. Because if you remember, Piper spent a lot of stacks. So what if we have more stacks? Alright, reminder, he is not fully built. I have not changed anything since the last time. How does it look? We will see. Alright, M1S1, Piper, Vivian. Before at M0S0, we have been at 38k if I remember correctly. However, the difference between M0S0 and M0S1 is actually not that substantial, which means I wanna play some Vuva today, okay? I don't only wanna do these things. I already do this 24/7 in CES. Okay, we want to make sure we first get some anomaly on the enemy. We are gonna ignore this. We need an anomaly and proc it as soon as we can afterwards. Make sure we get all the guard feather stacks. Okay, if we get hit once in a while, we trigger 1 bloom, we second 2 blooms. I hope I actually didn't cancel that. No, doesn't seem like it. We are at 3 blooms and we are just gonna use ult here. Because we will not get the assist follow-up in. So better to just cancel this at this point. 1 bloom, cancel for the low cost of 20 energy. We are gonna parry here, go into her EX and then trigger the stun window using Astra. We are gonna go with Piper here. Cancel the chain, trigger 2 blooms, 1 and re-trigger it. Get a little bit more anomaly on there so that we can now trigger the blooms. There we go, very good. The thing is, this team still spans so many stacks. I don't know how to get rid of all the stacks. Well, how to get enough stacks. Let's just do a little channel here. We will parry once more. Let's use a dodge counter here. We can spend a few stacks, 1 and 2. Get a little bit stuff back. We are back at 4 stacks. Very nice, very nice. Channel it and a few more stacks because why not? Man, the amount of stacks this team spends is so insane. We need to refuel stacks here. Bloom 1, switch her out, go into her ultimate. And then we use... Actually, we probably shouldn't have ulted here. I think that's a lot of... Yeah, that is a lot of build-up wasted. We should not have ulted here. Let's get to a blooms. Let's get a few more blooms because today we bloomin'. I probably should have parried here. Would have been better. We are running out of stacks again. My stack management is so horrible. It is very impressive. Okay, last time was 38k. This time we have nearly 47k. I feel like if you plan on plate... So, this is regardless of score. Regardless of score. I want to say this. Regardless of score. The team feels so much better. It still feels pretty bad, honestly. Not because it's not good, but you spend so many stacks, it feels extremely hard to generate enough. I really would like to test this versus Pompeii, where you have proper parry windows. The problem I find a little bit with Butcher is that you parry, but you have to parry directly again afterwards, which means you don't get your assist follow-up. Which also means you do not get the stacks from the parries. So that's one thing. However, Pompeii is also a little bit more ugly in terms of hyper, in my opinion, because the channel stuff. But anyway, as you might have guessed, what comes after M1S1? Right, M1S0. So we are going back and are gonna switch to Weeping Gemini. So, same team yet again. Oh wait, mate, we should also actually select her. I've already played this thing like 1,000 times on CES. It's so funny. Okay, let's get the parry in here, and if you can, we want the stacks here so that we can now start to proc stuff as much as we can. Nothing changes here. Just get all the stacks we can. Gonna build this up a little bit, use the iframes where we can. We do not have to parry this one. Trigger the assault, nearly 1 million, holy. Oh, 1 million assault, 540k. 540k assault, bloom. We are gonna save her ultimate for a little bit. We want to proc a little bit of her stuff first before we use it. There we go. We get another bloom here, which is obviously exactly what I planned. We can proc the ult here, go into Jane. Cancel this, go for a little bit of build up and then go back into her to retrigger Jane. Go for another build up to proc another assault, another bloom during the stun window, and then we can trigger her chain. Trigger it once more, and then we can use ultimate. And get one more bloom in here, right? Surely, there we go, very nice. Switch back. Use a dodge counter where we can. We want to parry him once more. We will actually not use the ultimate yet. I want to trigger this assault first. And then 1 EX special, and now we can use ultimate. I hope this actually hits. He jumps so... Okay, thank fucking God. I'm kinda... I have PTSD from Soldier Zero Ambi. Of stuff not hitting. One cool thing about this team, in my opinion, is it's okay if you get hit, because the quick assist which you get from that is actually really helpful for Vivian specifically. So we want to trigger this, cancel ultimate, trigger 1 assault here, which is very nice. Build this up. Trigger 1 few more blooms here. An assault, another one. Probably shouldn't have parried this. Actually, we do want to use her ultimate. We're running out of time, so all damage we can get in, all anomaly build up we can get in. Very good. I would like to get one more assault, please. Fuck, I shouldn't have... No. I parried and didn't get the assault due to that. 53k. What does that tell us? M1/S1, just as I told you, please. Her signature is not needed unless you want glowing hair. Her glowing hair is very beautiful, as is our, our milady is very beautiful. But please pull her M1 over anything else. It is such a QL change, especially if you want to play Piper. And it also is much more of a damage increase. At least as long as you make mistakes. And unless you are resetting everything, you're probably gonna make mistakes. And with that, we have the whale. We are going from a $300 with $500. The Vivian Enjoyer, such as myself. But I'm a broke Vivian Enjoyer. We are going back to her signature. And as we are a very payer-friendly stream, we are gonna unlock this. We are gonna get more anomaly build-up rate. We are going to get 15% all target all attribute rest, shred, ignore from the blooms, and 130% AP proficiency. I do want to say, before, anomaly proficiency on her has been important. Now, anomaly proficiency is even more important. So get all the AP you can. Again, currently we are at 465 with a 2k attack. This, you can get, of course, higher attack. This is mainly to show, to set the focus more on Jane. This is a bloom damage build, not an assault bloom damage build, not an ether damage. That is very important. If you're playing more into corruption and your main carry does not do as much damage, you can go more attack. $500 Vivian. I don't have a $600 or $2,000 one, so that's unfortunate. But we are only half payer friendly. Alright. We are gonna parry here. Gonna proc assault before going into her. Procking one more thingy, wait for her flight feathers. Go for the assist follow-up. We can proc another assault here. We are spending way too much. So our ether build-up also is now significantly higher. We are getting much earlier disorders. This gives us also ultimates a little bit earlier. We can ignore this. This enemy is so aggressive that we do not get the assist follow-up from him. So there's no reason for us to do the full chain. 770k blooms. Holy 100k. We just went from 550k to over 700k blooms. We are going into Jane, into Vivian, and then quick assist back to Jane. Because that gives us yet another chain here. We can proc this. Go for her ultimate. Very good. 800k a bloom. M2 Vivian. We do have Vivian's ultimate back. Very nice. I did not see that one, unfortunately. And that's okay. We are gonna stay a little bit on Jane here. We have so many stacks. We also kind of have to spend them somewhere. There we go. Go back into Vivian a little bit. We are back at 5 stacks. That has been a waste, unfortunately. We want to build up a little bit here before we go into ultimate and hope that this procs. It does, unfortunately not. That's a little bit sad. Let's go into Astra. Use our ult. So we can build up more here, use the iframe. Go into her, wait for her to finish. We can do this actually, and that's okay. We can cancel the chain here. That's better, that's better, that's much better. Unfortunately, we don't have the ultimate yet, but anyway. We're going for Vivian ult here. Let's proc another assault. Can we get one more assault in? One more assault. And there's the kill. M2 Vivian, damage increase. We went from 53k at M1S1 to a kill. M2 Vivian is just so fucking insane. However, I actually don't think I can test that. Let me quickly check that. I actually don't think I can actually test that. I don't have an attack disc with a AMS in-game. Yeah, I cannot test that. Alright, and with that, we are at today's content. I hope that this has helped you, and if I tell you pull M1, M2 over her signature, that is why. Again, none of this is perfect. There is no reason for me to reset 1,000 times if most of you are not gonna do that anyway. If you are a person who likes to perfect the play, this video is probably not for you. But if you have watched this for over 1.5 hours or however long this recording actually is, and you complain after this long, thanks for the ad revenue. I wish you a great day. Peace.